Okay. Today, students, we are going to see the model of the thigh region. And in the thigh region, basically, if you see this model, it is devoid of the skin, superficial fascia, and deep fascia. We can only see the muscles. In the deep fascia in the thigh region is known as fascia lata, and it shows a modification in the thigh which is known as the iliotibial tract. If we see this, I'm moving it, and if we see this is the iliotibial tract which is present on the lateral aspect of the thigh region. So it is basically a 2 inches wide band on the lateral side and is formed by the two muscles, that is the gluteus maximus muscle and the tensor fascia lata. They joins to form this thickened band on the lateral side known as iliotibial tract. So basically iliotibial tract has attachment superiorly with the ilium of the hip bone and inferiorly to the tibia. So that's why it is named as iliotibial tract. The importance of this iliotibial tract is it stabilizes the knee joint. So how it is formed? By the gluteus maximus muscle, tensor fascia lata, iliotibial tract. Okay, so this is the modification of deep fascia in the thigh region. The other important thing is that in the thigh region, it has got the intermuscular septas. Obviously, we cannot see in this model. We have 3 intermuscular septas which divide the thigh region into 3 compartments, 3 muscular compartments. On the lateral side, we cannot see in this model. We have lateral intermuscular septa which separates the anterior muscular compartment of the thigh from the posterior compartment, and on the medial side we have the medial intermuscular septa which separates the anterior muscular compartment from the medial muscular compartment, and posteriorly we have another posterior intermuscular septa. So again that divides the medial compartment from the posterior compartment. So in this way the whole thigh region is divided into 3 compartments. So let's see one by one what are those. We have the anterior compartment which is known as the extensor compartment of the thigh region. So if we see here, we can see these muscles, they are the muscles of anterior compartment. Starting with this long strap ribbon like muscle, if we trace it here, this is the sartorius muscle, right? This is a long strap like muscle starting from the ilium. It goes down till the knee, leg area. So this is the sartorius muscle, and sartorius is basically the action is, it is the abductor and lateral rotator of the thigh. It's known as the talar's muscle because the talar sits in the position having the abducted and the flexed leg. And then if we see the other group of muscles, it is the quadriceps femoris. That means quadri means it has 4 components. So with let's see the 4 components of the quadriceps femoris. If we see, this is the first component. This is the rectus femoris muscle. Here is the rectus femoris. Then on the medial side here, this is the vastus medialis muscle, and on the lateral side this is the vastus lateralis. Now one muscle is left which is known as the vastus intermedius, which is actually between these 2 muscles. So if we remove the rectus femoris, then we will see the vastus intermedius. So let's remove the rectus femoris, and here we can see this is the vastus intermedius, right? Okay, so we have seen in this model the iliotibial tract, the tensor fascia lata, gluteus maximus, and the anterior compartment muscle. This one, the sartorius, and then the rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, vastus intermedius. Now these are the extensor muscles and they all are supplied by the femoral nerve. Coming to the medial compartment, one thing more, in the upper end we can see that there is a triangular gap on upper half of the thigh region. If we trace it here, we can see this is a triangular gap which is known as the femoral triangle. So the femoral triangle, if we trace its boundaries, we can see that here this is the sartorius muscle and this forms its lateral boundary, and here it is the adductor longus muscle of the medial compartment of the thigh. It forms its medial boundary, and it has apex which is directed downward. So the apex is formed by the union of the lateral boundary and the medial boundary, and it has a base which is upward here, which is formed by the inguinal ligament. So these are the boundaries. Roof actually is formed by the roof by the skin, which is obviously removed in this model, superficial fascia and deep fascia, and the floor on which it lies is formed by the iliopsoas muscle, pectineus muscle, and the adductor longus muscle. So these are the boundaries of the femoral triangle. Coming to the contents, the contents are femoral artery. This is the femoral artery, which is the continuation external iliac artery coming from the pelvis. Below the inguinal ligament, it is known as the femoral artery. Now medial to the femoral artery, we can see is the femoral vein. The femoral artery and vein in its upper 1/4 is covered by the femoral sheath, and outside the femoral sheath, lateral to the femoral artery, is the femoral nerve. So if we go from medial to lateral, femoral vein, femoral artery, and femoral nerve. The femoral artery and the femoral nerve, they give their branches in the femoral triangle. Femoral artery gives 3 deeper and 3 superficial branches. We cannot see in the model. Deep branches we can see if we remove the sartorius muscle, and we can see the branches of the femoral nerve, right? That is the lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh and the femoral branch of genitofemoral nerve. And then coming to the other muscles of the medial compartment of the thigh, this is the gracilis muscle, right? And this is the adductor longus muscle. Then there is adductor brevis, which is a short muscle. Brevis means short, small, which we cannot see in this model, and the adductor magnus muscle. This is the adductor magnus muscle. Magnus means the largest. So it is the largest of the all adductor muscles. It has 2 parts, adductor part and the hamstring part, right? So these are the muscles of the medial compartment or adductor compartment of the thigh. The nerve supply of the adductor compartment is the obturator nerve. We cannot see in this model. Now going to the back of the thigh. Now This is the gluteus maximus muscle, which I am removing. And in the posterior or back of the thigh, we can see this is the bicep femoris muscle, which is present on the lateral side. It has two heads. This is the long head, and when we will remove this long head, we will see the short head. Here is the semimembranosus and semitendinosus. And now if we remove the bicep femoris long head, we can see the short head of the bicep femoris. Now I am removing the semimembranosus and tendinosus muscle. We are on the deeper aspect, and here we can see this is the, if we trace it here, this is the sciatic nerve, which is coming from the gluteal region below the piriformis muscle. Actually it is originating from the sacral plexus in the pelvis region, then it comes into the gluteal region, and then it comes down to the thigh, posterior half of the thigh, goes down, and we can see over here that at the level of this diamond shaped fossa, which is known as popliteal fossa, the popliteal fossa on a lateral boundary is formed by we have bicep femoris muscle over here, and we have the semimembranosus and tendinosus on its medial side. So they form the medial and lateral boundaries. And the contents, if we see sciatic nerve, it is dividing into two. This is the tibial nerve, and this is the common peroneal nerve, popliteal vein and popliteal artery. So these are the muscles of the and the vessels in the back of the thigh region. And now we will see this is all about the muscles or the model of the thigh region. We have covered all these three compartments. Now we are going to see the model of knee joint. So let's start with the knee joint. Now whenever we study knee joint, we know first we see the articular surfaces. We should know the type of the joint. So the joint type it's a complex synovial joint. It is composed of three joints. Basically it is a fusion of three joints. So it is formed between the femur, the condyles of the femur, that is the medial condyle and the lateral condyles. They fuse with the condyles of the tibia, the medial and the lateral condyles of the tibia. And so these are the femorotibial, medial and lateral condyle joints. Then the femur with the patella. So patella is basically inside the tendon of the quadriceps femoris. So femur also articulates with the patella. If we move it like this, we can see this is the patella bone inserted within the tendon of the quadriceps femoris. So these three joints are formed between the condyles of the femur, condyles of the tibia, and femur with the patella. So between the femur and patella is the saddle joint, and between the condyles of the femur and the tibia is the condylar joint. So it's a fusion of three joints. And the articular surfaces are what? Again the condyles of the femur and condyles of the tibia, and femur with the patella, right? Then the capsule, joint capsule, we cannot see joint capsule in this model. It is deficient anteriorly and is replaced by the anteriorly by the ligamentum patellae and quadriceps femoris muscle, and it is only lined within these articular surfaces. Okay, then the ligaments. Before we go into the ligaments, I will talk about an important structure. Here you can see with this blue colored structure, this is known as the menisci. So there are two menisci present between the condyles of the femur and condyles of the tibia, the medial meniscus, and here we can see the lateral meniscus. Okay, So these, if we see these menisci, these are semi-lunar in shape and they are fibrocartilaginous disc and very important structure. They act as a shock absorber and lubricates the joint cavity, and they separates the two condyles, right? Then coming to the ligaments, if we see on here, we can see this is the ligament which is present on the sides, each side of the joint. On the medial side, this is the tibial collateral ligament. It is also known as medial collateral ligament. It is present. If we see trace it, it is attached superiorly on the medial epicondyle of the femur, just below the adductor tubercle. It goes down, it's a white band, goes down and attached on the medial surface of the tibia. So this is the medial or tibial collateral ligament. Then there is the fibular collateral ligament, lateral collateral ligament. It's again superiorly attached to the lateral epicondyle of the femur and inferiorly attached to the head of the fibula. Now these ligaments are very important and they stabilizes the knee joint. Another important group of ligaments is the cruciate ligament. Cruciate, as we know, word cruciate means crossed, right? So cruciate ligament we can see posteriorly in this model. Actually, there are two types of the cruciate ligament: anterior cruciate ligament and posterior cruciate ligament. They are named on the attachment of on the tibia in the intercondylar area. So if the ligament, it is attached on the anterior aspect of the intercondylar area, it is known as the anterior cruciate ligament, and it goes upward and backward and it's attached to the lateral condyle of the femur. And similarly, posterior cruciate ligament, this is attached to the posterior aspect of the intercondylar area of the tibia and goes backward and is attached to the medial epicondyle of the, so anterior is attached on the lateral epicondyle and medial the posterior cruciate ligament is attached to the medial epicondyle of the femur, and they formed a crossed structure. We can see over here these two. That's why they are named as cruciate. They are also very important. These ligaments, they provide stability to the knee joint. Basically, anteriorly is the anterior and posterior cruciate ligament. Side by side there are these collateral ligaments, and also the iliotibial tract, it also stabilizes the knee joint. So this is all about the model of the knee joint.